Welcome back to the Productized Podcast. This is season 19, where we explore what it takes to create change together. I'm your host, André Marquet, and this season is about real people behind the transformation, the leaders, the builders, the visionaries, and sometimes the quiet forces driving change from within very complex systems that are organizations, and especially bigger organizations. And today's guest is one of these people. Cláudio Pimentel is a Chief Information Officer at Cofidis Portugal, where he's been shaping the company's tech strategy for over 2 decades. From building their very first information systems team to now steering strategic digital change, Cláudio knows what it takes to lead transformation inside legacy financial institutions. He's also an educator, a consultant, and this October is going to be at the Productized Conference panel, joining other panelists on the future of fintech products. And someone I have the dear pleasure of calling a friend. Cláudio, welcome to the Productized Podcast. It's an honor to finally have you in the show.
Hi, Andre. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you so much. And after this presentation, I'm speechless, and it's a pleasure to be here. I really like also to share to the community. So this was a good and excellent opportunity. And also being associated with the Productized Conference this year, it's also an honor from me. So thank you, my friend, for this invitation.
It's really a pleasure to have you. You are really one of the driving forces since the beginning. Not only the partnership with Cofidis, but even much before that, when I had a chance to work at the company and we were doing so many product experimentations, and the help of the IT team was crucial to move some of those projects forward. But before we dive in, let's warm up with some questions if you're up to. For those that don't know you, who is Cláudio Pimentel besides the intro I just did? What is something that maybe people would find surprising about you?
Well, besides of the wonderful intro that you made, I'm someone that really likes the proximity. I won't tell you that I'm a technologist because, well, as you said, I'm a technologist. I really like what I do, and I'm lucky to be able to work on something that I always wanted to do, and also to have the possibility to advance. So it's me. What you introduced.
As we say in IT world, what you see is what you get.
Yes. I think it consumes a lot of energy to have different personas.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a bit weird when we speak about the IT, the machines, but for me, the personal relationships and the honesty and transparency for me are key factors for what I do. What you see is what you get. Well resumed.
So what's one small change that you've made in your personal or even professional life that had a surprisingly big impact?
That's a tough one because there are certain moments in time that effectively take some decisions that shape the future, our future. And I can't really tell you that I have a decision like that, but I think that one of the things that had a really big impact in my professional life was effectively when I accepted the Cofidis challenge. I was working at Vodafone here in Portugal. At the time, Vodafone was a really a high-tech company. They were very in the future.
Yeah.
And
so
I took the
that
challenge.
was over 20 years ago. Just
over
shy of
20
20
years
years.
And when they invited me to go to come to Cofidis, I said, well, why not? Here in telecom, we build money and we build calls. At Cofidis, we build money. It will be the same thing. But it was a shock for me at the moment when I arrived to Cofidis, and the core system. A good part of the core system was in a SQL Server database. At the time, it was SQL. I think it was 6.5, and I came from Oracle house with a lot of technology. But then I also had the opportunity, the vision to see, okay, there's an enormous space to do something, to build something interesting. So I think that was one of the moments that I was a bit skeptic when I went to the interview, when I got there also, I was, well, probably this wasn't a good idea. But well, here I am 20 years later. Here
So
I am.
many, so many things in life are a little bit like that.
Yeah.
You know, no. Well, sometimes when you are super excited in the beginning, then after, some time it really fades away. And sometimes it's the opposite. You're not so excited in the beginning, but then it ramps up and it builds. There's this Chinese proverb, right? Which is, if you're always, I think it says something like, if you're always happy, you can never, you won't be able to feel the difference. So I think there's
Yeah.
something
You
like
won't be
that.
able to appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it. Exactly. So what makes you happy will make you unhappy, something like that. So what's a product or tool you genuinely can't live without? I know you're a little bit biased towards Microsoft stack, but I really want to know your opinion on this one.
Okay, so the product, I'm a simple guy in terms of products. I like to try products in a general way. Now with a young teenager, I also try the products that he brings me. Sometimes they're really cool products. Other times, okay, I really don't understand. But I think that the product that is always with me, the one that I use more effectively is LinkedIn. I don't use much social networks, but I think in terms of products, what is the product that I use more is LinkedIn. After, of course, when I have time, I like to see movies. I like to see TV shows. So I would say that any of the streaming services are also my companions. Last but not least, I really like also Audible because
Yeah, me too.
it allows me to learn new things in a more accessible way. So I think that these will be the products that usually are always installed on my gadgets. So in a way, you are right. LinkedIn, it's from Microsoft, but my ecosystem is not Microsoft. Is more Android.
That's true. So if you are not working in IT-financial services, but specifically in IT, where do you think you would be working today? Is there an alternative, Claudio, in path?
I'm not too picky, just as long as I'm learning or just as long as I have the possibility to build new stuff. So I would always have something related to technology, but I think I will be more of I would have my own business in
You'd be an
terms of
entrepreneur.
yes, I would be an entrepreneur. I was an entrepreneur. I tried before I started, but at the time it was a completely different game.
Would you be doing consultancy, or what kind of business would you be doing?
Consultant is always it's something that I could see me working on because I like to tackle problems, to find solutions, to contribute to the end result. But probably I will be doing something related with computer games because that was also one of the passions that I had. It was the computer games of Spectrum computer games that started my journey. So probably
Really?
I will be
So you started coding in BASIC like everybody else?
Yeah,
back in
doing
the
some
day.
circles and squares, some ugly colors. But I spent more time with my screwdriver trying to regulate the tape recorder.
Yeah, those were the days. Kids don't understand this. When I tried to explain
No.
that to my kids, I think I even
Yeah.
bought one of those ZX Spectrum emulators that they
Yeah.
sell on Fnac, one of those. And I thought they would be super entertained about it, but they just use it for like 5 minutes. These games are
Yeah.
boring.
Yeah.
That's it.
But at the time, it was the deal. It was the real deal.
Yeah, that was the deal. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the disruption and the whole thing that we want to talk about in the podcast.
I would say
Inspired, educational,
Overwhelming.
very practical,
Challenging.
thought-provoking,
meaningful,
enthusiastic.
nice people, innovation.
And fun.
Product growth mindset.
New connections?
Join us at the coolest product management environment this October in Lisbon.
For many, that means also launching something new. But for you, Claudio, I think it often means transformation. And so let's start there. What does creating change together mean when you're working within an established organization like Cofidis, which has actually they have the slogan "People to People," but a very complex setting of specific rules and regulations, a very regulated environment, so lots of constraints to actually build new products in that kind of specific space.
That definition for me has changed along the years. I suppose that when I was younger, probably building something together will be building something together with the IT team
Mm-hmm.
and to give something to the business. And as the years passed, with all the tough lessons, tests and the failures, I think that today the thing of changing together is effectively how can we have the conditions to have everyone on board of this of an endeavor of change. Usually, the IT is very good in inflicting change,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not very good when they are on the other side. They need to change. And I also passed that transformation, and that was also something that helped me learn effectively that to do something together in a company, because we are not a consultant, we are always there.
Mm-hmm.
There's no end of a project. So that means that effectively we need to be aligned, to be very honest in the difficult moments of the changes, and also to be clear what will be in the end of the road in terms of those changes, and how can we continue to conduct that change together. It's true that we are, by definition, the financial market is a very regulated market. Then we also have some challenges. Not challenges. We have some rules that we needed to comply with at the group level. But that also, I think that in the beginning we can say it's very difficult. We can choose product A, B, or C.
Mm-hmm.
But once you're in the solution mindset, you can see that you can still do business by going back to basics and building stuff using open source as an accelerator, also contributing to the open source community. And look, as you know, we don't have.
You ever contribute to the open source community? I mean, you, the company.
The company, yes, in small stuff, by helping building a better product. We spoke with some products with some companies. Like, for example, I can give you an example of Rasa, that we had some exchanges with them to how could they advance the product in certain areas that we were also developing. So we tried to do that.
So people that are not familiar with that software, what is Rasa for?
Rasa, it was the open source of chatbots.
Mm-hmm. So it's an open source chatbot.
They had a framework specifically for conversational chatbot. Right now, it reduces a lot because the platform has evolved a lot. So XBot, either video, either voice, either text. And at the time, it was really interesting because we were invited to contribute to the product development. So that was cool. Then there are some smaller things contributions that we do on GitHub that we can create. Basically, just to finish, not having access to certain services or certain technologies, it can give the impression that sometimes we are slow, but until now we were able to make business, be very successful, and also it has allowed us to develop and to create really good engineers, software engineers and system engineers, because they really need to understand what they're doing and how they're doing it. So in the end, I think that there's been a good, a positive result.
And you helped build Cofidis Systems team from scratch. What was your approach to leading that that change without breaking what was already working, or what is already working. Sometimes it's also the case.
Yeah. So when I got to Cofidis, the system was shared with ZLM, that right now it's BNP Personal Finance, because BNP Personal Finance, ZLM, they were our shareholders, because Cofidis was born from a joint venture between ZLM and time a company that was a catalog sale company that was Trois Suisse. And they decided to create Cofidis. So Cofidis is Compagnie Financière pour la Distribution.
Actually, that's the first time I hear the acronym of the company. Nobody ever told me that before.
Yeah. When I got to Cofidis, it was everything was done at the ZLM system, apart from one first experience that they already they tried to do in terms of the credit onboarding. But it was basically a form to fill out information without really any intelligence behind. And when I got there, my team, I was responsible for the development team. I got there, and basically I had 4 Cofidis workers and 3 trainees. So that was the team developing. And there, the objective was really clear. Okay, how do we get out of ZLM? So that was the challenge at the time. The time it was Nuno Miguel that was leading the IT at Cofidis. He told me, well, Cláudio, this is a challenge. We need to get out of ZLM. Then we started to create a strategy. The strategy was simple. Was okay. What's the value chain? Cofidis value chain. And how can we do these changes without breaking the operation and without giving too much information to ZLM, because we couldn't take any hits from them. Because just to give you an idea, if we wanted to start a commercial campaign, we needed to inform our competitors that we were going to do a certain campaign. What were the financial, the interest rates? We needed to ask them of the development. So they were always one step ahead at the time. So basically what we've done was, okay, we will start by the onboarding, because it's where the money comes from. We need to sell credits. We will start there. How can we automate the process? How can we reduce the errors? It was there that we introduced the meaning of a rules engine to help our colleagues to decide in terms of the credit, integrating the score, and to advance with the pre-acceptation idea at the time that dear customers, you just need to come to our website, you fill out, and we will give you an answer straight away, a preconditional answer straight away, because we needed to check everything.
Mm-hmm.
But we started with that. It was at the time it wasn't simple, because we really shook the operations team, because suddenly they weren't controlling all the aspects of the process.
Mm-hmm.
And those were the first tough decisions that we had, and the first tough confrontations that we had at the time. I wasn't really experienced in managing change.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really interesting times at the moment. But basically, the strategy was, okay, we will start to carve out all these business functionalities from the ZLM system, and later we will try to tackle the most complex part, that is the credit management system, to calculate the loans, to calculate everything. And it was an adventure that took 5 years.
So it was a long transformation process, but the credit cards, the actual credit score and credit calculations, the credit engine, so to say, did you have to build it on your own? Like, did you build a new engine for Cofidis, or did you bought it from the market? What was the process there?
At the time, we wanted to give we wanted to give autonomy to the business. At the time, it was also one of the objectives. That was why we went to a rules engine that the risk team could use on their own to create the rules based on the variables that were available. Right now, this is standard procedure, but 20 years ago, it was something new. So at the time, we searched for a solution that it was later bought by IBM. And right now it's ODM, it's Operational Decision Management, and we are still using it.
It's now a IBM product.
But it's now an IBM product, and we are still using it. But at the time, since we were also a bit time constrained, it was really the beginning. We had that part. We bought the tool, but we developed everything else, plus the rules, plus integrating there also the scoring in this solution. And at the time, it was also funny because we think, okay, we are going to give some empowerment to the business, and effectively they never used the rules engine because they said, no, that's not our work. That's the IT work. And at that time, we are stuck with this tool because probably we could develop all the ifs. But still today we use it because effectively it allows us to give a better response, a faster response to the market, to the changing market, to the challenges that we have, in a more simpler way than if it was built in the solution.
Maybe, I don't know, can you share a moment where you realized that you needed to drop maybe some of the hard frameworks and just connect with people, and what happened then?
There was a challenging moment around 2017 when we were undergoing the merge of Cofidis and Banco Banif Mais.
I've heard some stories.
Time, you heard some stories.
I heard some stories.
Yeah, that we were a very well-oiled machine in terms of PMI. We were even considered, I think it was in 2015, PMO Office of the Year in Portugal.
Wow.
By the PMI Institute. We had all our processes working well and advancing. But this merger was probably one of the biggest challenges that we had. The company was in a big transformation. At a certain time, we were obliged to, as me and the colleagues say, we were obliged to change the airplane's engine in mid-flight, because the waterfall, everything that we've done, that way wasn't working. We were failing, and that obliges.
When you say you were failing, how were you failing? What were you failing?
So in terms of first, in terms of more functional aspects, because it wasn't only an IT project. First, it was the functional aspects of reaching to the right process, and then on the IT side to get a time shrink to deliver. So we weren't able to deliver. We started to develop without having a clear notion of what was expecting us. But we were aware that we couldn't wait to have all the good specs finalized before we started to write the first line of code. So that obliged us to change our approach, and that was the first steps that we took on to more agile methodologies. Well, it was a little bit learning on the job, because we started, okay, let's do the Scrum, let's do the daily meetings, let's do this, let's do that. But effectively, we didn't know anything. So it was a learning process, but it was a key success factor to arrive to the end of the project, because it really allowed us to pave the way for where we are today.
What was the key? The key is to go from waterfall to agile, or the key was to go start talking with your internal clients in a more proactive way?
We were talking with our internal clients to close the really big specs, and that created long cycles. But at the same time, we had an engagement with our shareholders of having this fusion done in a really small time framework. In a small time frame. So this was the recipe for disaster, because we even increased the team size. We were able to see that the point that one guy is too much, and you really start to see, instead of accelerating, you start to slow down, but also the co-working, and to think. At the time, we didn't speak about the MVPs, but in terms of, okay, how can we tackle smaller changes in smaller cycles, in terms of, okay, this is the need, this is how we will build. Of course, we were lucky because we already had the answers in terms of what will be the outcome, the landscape, the end vision, and that allowed us to start to give these first steps of human factors, how people should work together, IT and the business, and start to break those two big silos of IT and business, because effectively there's no business without IT, and there's no need of an IT without a business. So how could we change it? The practices, how we would do the day-to-day, and also in terms of our technical architecture. So that was effectively a point in time that we needed to reframe everything to prepare us for what was coming after. The challenge here is that we were doing this in mid-flight with a merger and acquisition, doing a merger and acquisition and a fusion of all the IT systems.
Right.
So it was a challenging time.
So back to 2025. Do you see Cofidis of today, of course, Cofidis nowadays, more like a fintech or a credit services company, which is arguably what it has been for the last 2 decades? I really enjoyed this quote you had at this previous webinar in Portuguese. Futuro queremos construir, which I think it translates more or less like, innovation is not an add-on, it's a strategic choice about the future we want to build. And what you mean, what you want to say about this? Why do you say this?
Well, I think that today I can tell you that we are a fintech or that we are only a consumer credit company. I think that we are somewhere in between them. What I like to think of Cofidis is that we are a digital company with a digital business, and we happen to be consumer loan experts. So, because looking forward, and in terms of looking forward, innovation as a really big role in terms of how we can project ourselves in the future. You were there with us when we started with innovation in a different way, so you understand what we've been through. But I think that looking to innovation, and innovation for me is not only the technological innovation, is also, or even more important, the business innovation that allows us to project ourselves in the future and see what are the possibilities that we have in terms of advancing and moving forward. One of the examples that I can give is Cofidis is a very successful financial company. We are very good at what we do. And we do it without knowing the customer personally. We've been doing always everything by distance. We started by the phone in the 1980. In some year, we started to sell credit in a distance without knowing the customer. So that part, we are very good, and we manage very good all the aspects of the business. But when we are in a good time, and we have the time and the resources to invest in innovation, meaning projecting the future, where we want to be, how we see ourselves, that starts to be a strategical choice. Because it's not business as usual. We are very good doing this. No, we are projecting ourselves, looking in what are the possibilities out there. And one of the outcomes was the partnership that we built with Agile Insurance here in Portugal. That came out from those innovations of Cofidis. We want to be a day-to-day financial partner to our customers. So that means that we need to have more solutions available to our customers. So that allows us to find that, to project that future. Another example was, for example, Cofidis Pay. Yes, sure, we were being challenged and tackled by other great companies that everyone follows and everyone sees them also as an example. We can speak about Klarna, we can speak about Affirm, and we should be ashamed of speaking about them or learning with them. I think that that's one of the beautiful things that we have today, is that we can learn and share with everyone without thinking that it's all copy paste or espionage. No, if we don't learn, if we lose that opportunity, we are not doing a good job. But we were able to project ourselves in the buy now, pay later market with a good solution, with a very small time frame in terms of from inception to creation. And all those were strategical options.
But some bets were successful and other bets are not so successful, right?
Yeah, right. Some bets they don't go along as we would like to. Some others, they don't even get out of paper, and other ones, as we had, they don't have a good start. For example, we bought Banif Mais. They were specialized in the second-hand car business, the financing the second-hand cars. We were there a few years ago. And we made a development. My team were really invested on that. But in the end, in terms of business, I think that we sold 40 credits. And that wasn't a success.
40 credits is a fraction of
40 cars. Yeah.
What Cofidis sells per day on average.
Oh, that doesn't even reach a morning. So it was frustrating for the team, not only for the IT team, because
they put a lot of effort in it.
We put a lot of efforts, a lot of nights, a lot of development, also for the business, because at the time, that was, I don't know, 2009 or 2010, they were really eager that, okay, this will be the next big thing, and it didn't work. It just didn't work.
But there are learnings, right? I mean, if you pay to learn, you're already paying for something. Sometimes there are no learnings, or people just don't take the time to take the learning, but there are learnings for sure. And as we now progress towards AI and how it's transforming and the way we build and manage products, and we can talk about the build as well, but let's just talk a little bit about the potentialities of what do you think are the most realistic and maybe most misunderstood opportunities that you see for AI in the financial services sector? What are you more bullish about? That's what I'm asking.
More bullish?
More bullish, more like, okay, I really believe that AI can help do this, but I'm not so believing that AI can do that.
I think that at this moment, the thing that I think that is overhyped, it's to let the machine assume all the communications with our customers. There, I think probably in a few years, but right now I think it's a lot of hype around that, because we are trying to control the machine, control the variations of the machine, and I don't really think, at least for Cofidis, I don't really think that we are in a point that we could let the machine communicate with the customer without compromising the responsibility that we have in terms of the information that we give to our customers, and also in terms of maintaining this human side of the contact, this human side of the relationships that we have with our customers in a day-to-day, and also nevertheless of the huge success that all the companies, all the LLMs, all Gen AI that are out there, what we feel is that the customers, when they have a problem, they don't want to speak with the machine. So that will be more in terms of what I think it's the hype of the AI. Of course, there is a lot of things that we can do internally with the Gen AI, but not to replace how we do and how we communicate with the customers. I don't really think it's there.
Are you bullish about something? Are you believing? Oh, but here I really think there is a good case for AI to do this.
There are very good use cases for AI in terms of personalization of how we speak with the customer. I'm very, very interesting in terms of how we can translate our calls to text and to take some insights from there, take insights, find new products, find new needs of what the customer wants, because it's really different when you see when your relation with the customer is based on a form, you are already you're cropping a lot of information, because you're telling the customer, no, look, I just really need your name, your address, your income. I don't need to know anything else. So you're already
Filtering a lot.
filtering a lot of information. On the phone, you're not true that you make some questions, but there the customer is free to share what are their preoccupations, their needs, what they're looking for, what they value, what they don't value, what they are afraid of, where they are more insecure, because we are talking about financial products. Here in Portugal, we are getting better and better in terms of financial literacy, but there are a lot of unknowns in how to understand the information. And there we have an enormous potential to understand, and that AI can do that better than any human.
Mm-hmm.
There, I think that there is a huge potential in terms of what we can do with AI, and also how can we address or personalize our interactions with the customer, the communication with the customer, but always in a perspective of human augmentation in terms of our colleagues. How can they better serve our customer? So there, I think that there is a lot of opportunity in terms of scoring, in terms of credit decision. I think the regulator almost excludes everything.
When you say excludes, what do you mean excludes?
Well, we can't put an AI algorithm that is not explainable, that is not controllable.
So a black
refusing
box.
or accepting a black box the credit, because first the regulation, the AI Act, also has a big impact there. But also for us, in terms of Cofidis, we want to have the human side in terms of the last decision regarding the credit.
That nowadays, that's almost marketable in a marketing way, right? You can always say, we assure that a human is actually checking it out. You're not just a victim of an algorithm, of an AI, whatever it is. There will always be a human to check out your case.
That's what we are trying to do. A few weeks ago, I was at a conference and I was sharing what we've done in terms of using AI, because there are a lot of types of AI. It's not only Gen AI. The work that we've been doing in terms of using AI in a responsible way, and not excluding people from the credit based only on personal attributes. If it's a woman or if it's a man, only on income. That's what we call a responsible AI. How can we have a sustainable AI that doesn't neglect people? For example, if we only used postal codes,
right,
I could be excluding people just because they live in a certain area of Lisbon. Does it mean that he's not going to pay because he lives there? No. So we need to be very careful in terms of the variables that we choose to do our models, in terms of our risk models, so that, of course, we are not here to lose money or to give credit to everyone. No, but in terms of it's a certain extent, we are not penalizing people only because of their personal attributes.
And someone that worked with Cofidis inside the company, I got first contact with the so-called no cloud policy of the company, which I understand it's an imposition from the group, the mother group. What do you think nowadays from a technical standpoint, a purely technical standpoint, if this still makes sense, especially as the more advanced LLMs are still cloud-based and they are very difficult to run on premises because of the computational limitations?
Yeah. So first, I think that a lot of us have a misconception that, oh no, that's only a thing of Cofidis. And what we see is that as we start to speak with more companies, it's not only a Cofidis thing. And as we spoke earlier on, that in the beginning that could look like a limitation, but effectively, well, we're doing well. We are doing business. We have good results. And we have a good workforce. In terms of services, I would be lying to you that not being able to use certain services, cloud services, aren't that we don't have an impact in terms of time to market. Sorry. We don't have an impact in terms of time to market. Of course we have. But there's also sometimes that the hype, imagine, okay, we have ChatGPT, we can put him to talk directly with our customers, because at the time that was the hype. We are going to replace all the customer services with
right.
with ChatGPT. We didn't. We took our time. We are doing our stuff. We are looking what are the possibilities. We already have some LLM models on premises, and if we look, do I really need to provide a better service or to generate a better experience to our customers? Do I really need to know all the works from Shakespeare? Do I really need to know all the movies that came out
published
in the last century?
Yeah, last century.
No. What I really need is to understand the customer, and that I can train a smaller model
with a subset.
With a subset that really can help me to get there. Then I also see that with all the geopolitical changes, the position regarding cloud usage is shifting a little bit, and people are looking more in terms of cloud sovereignty, private clouds. I was in Germany last year, and I was surprised that I was looking at big groups that we think, oh no, they are full cloud. For example, the Schwarz Group, the little company, and other. In France also, a lot of the banks who are starting to work more in terms of the private cloud. So I think that right now, I think that last week we saw something that it was unthinkable a few years ago. We saw Satya Nadella communicating that, Microsoft is going to occupy the space with a sovereign cloud offer. Office 365 deconnected. They are not speaking about on-premises, but almost, no, you can have your own private cloud with all these services. 2 years ago, it was unthinkable of thinking something like...
2 years ago, Trump being president was unthinkable as well. So I think that changed a lot of things in the business space as well. Lots of companies are repositioning themselves.
And I think that more and more we will get to an hybrid. But if I really look at Cofidis needs, we are not Amazon. Our customer here in Portugal, our maximum market, it's, 3 million, 4 million people. So we don't have Black Fridays. No, we do responsible credit.
That's actually a very interesting thing, what you're saying. When you say Portuguese market is max 3 million, 4 million. Don't you feel a little bit sad about that? That, look, you are building a state-of-the-art IT infrastructure, you're building a really good product, and no matter how good the product is, you're always capped by the size of the market. Because if you go to Cofidis France, then it's Cofidis France, and you go Cofidis Spain, it's an entirely different company. Yeah. Well, is there anything you could do about it, maybe?
First, I'm a positive guy. So I don't really like to spend a lot of time looking at the bad. I like to see the opportunities in what we can do. And I could look at the glass as being empty, but I prefer to look at the glass as being half full, because with the size that we have here in Portugal, it also allowed a lot of the experimentations that we've done, and also allow us to work in this operating model that we have, that you know, in terms of shifting more for a product-led company, having the business and the IT working hand on hand. Because if I looked on the other way, we are a big company, 100,000 people. The group with the bank is almost 100,000 people, and the scale problem. I don't know if some of the things that we've done here and we have today would be possible in that type of scale. Then it allows it. Cofidis has always allowed each country to manage or to tackle the market regarding their specificities. So it's true, we have a smaller market, but we work with what we have, and we also take that opportunity. And of course, we are able, in the group that we are able to share everything and to give these lessons learned to the group, not only for Cofidis but for the other group companies. And that's the bright side, because some things that we do here, they are also replicated around Europe.
Well, so let's wrap it out around that bright side. I just want to take a moment for remind people that Cláudio, and we're very thrilled that you're also joining us at October at the Productized conference to be part of the panel on the future of fintech products. We've covered a lot, from legacy tech all the way back to SQL 5.0 or something like that, all the way to the state-of-the-art LLMs of on-premise. But before we wrap up, let's share a few takeaways. Is there anything that you'd like to leave the listeners with just one specific insight from today's conversation? What would that be?
I think that the Cofidis story in Portugal has been a story of resilience, and not focusing on the problems, and always focusing on the solutions. So I think that will be the first giveaway. The second will be, okay, it's good to know what are the trends, what are the hypes in the moment, but take your time to use them, because sometimes something that looks like as a good idea can be the worst idea. So take your time to evaluate your opinion, to see what you can do. Mm-hmm. And last but not least, don't be afraid. Tackle the challenge head on, because usually you regret more of not doing something than doing something. So I think that will be that resumes the story of Cofidis Portugal.
Very well. And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Productized Podcast. A big thank you to Cláudio Pimentel for this inspiring conversation and for reminding us that real change happens when we listen, when we empower, and of course, when we lead with purpose, which means being brave enough to take the action in the first place. Before we go, Cláudio, where can people find you? Where can people learn more about your work, maybe interact with you? Where are you active?
You can find me at LinkedIn will be the easiest way. You can find me there. You can also, but it is easier from LinkedIn, because you can message, we can change, we can connect. And if you have any questions or anything, feel free to send me a message, and I'll be happy to answer and see after where it can take.
Very well. And to our listeners, also don't forget to follow Productize on LinkedIn. You can subscribe to the podcast. You can join us, of course, in Lisbon.
That's also an opportunity. I'll be there. Yes. At the Productized conference. I'm really excited to be there, and let's take a coffee there.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's also see you at the next episode of the Productized Podcast in the meantime, or in your case, at the Productized conference, Cláudio. Have a great one.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I would say
Inspired. Educational.
Overwhelming.
very practical,
Challenging.
Thought-provoking.
meaningful,
Enthusiastic.
nice people, innovation.
And fun.
product growth mindset.
New connections.
Join us at the coolest product management environment this October in Lisbon.